Hello, Dad. This is Jay Warren. This is the Dadhood Journey podcast, and today's topic is this. No sense crying over spilled jam. Let's do it.
Hi, my name's Nico, and you're listening to my dad, Jay Warren. This is the Dadhood Journey podcast. Thanks for listening.
Yep. So I have to laugh at myself, Dad, about this little episode that I'm going to put together. And I already started laughing at that title, and that there's no sense crying over spilled jam. Obviously, the expression is no sense crying over spilled milk, implying it's not that big a deal, don't worry about it. And I have a counter to that in parenthood. I'll come back to it because sometimes it's totally understandable to cry about spilled milk. But in my case, it indeed was spilled jam this morning, and I threw a little fit. So I am getting ready in the morning. I am busy trying to get this train rolling. Nico's sick, so he wasn't going to preschool, so that meant I needed to bring him to my office for his mom to pick him up. She had some prior commitments, so she couldn't get there early. It's not a big deal. It's just, trying to get the train rolling in the morning. Sometimes it's difficult, and it was this morning. And as I was thinking, man, I don't have time to do anything. Like, I'm just busy, and I do this, and I was in kind of my head doing a little pity party as I'm getting Nico's breakfast ready. And as I'm coming out of the fridge, I just dropped the brand new jar of raspberry jam onto the tile floor, and it shattered and went everywhere. And I was pissed. I didn't yell and scream. I didn't swear out loud. I sweared internally, that's for sure. But I did express frustration. And Nico's like, "Are you okay, Dad?" He thought I was hurt. No, I wasn't hurt. I was just pissed because I had one more thing to deal with now. I had broken glass all over the kitchen floor, and you know how the thing goes. It just goes into the craziest corners. So that meant I had to first sweep it up, second vacuum it up, clean up the jam, put all that stuff away in the trash, make sure it doesn't poke a hole in the trash bag as I'm taking it out to the trash can. That creates another problem. And I just found it super ironic, appropriate, whatever, that I was thinking how I don't have time to do anything. And I just created another mess for me because I was fumbling around. Not necessarily because, maybe, I don't know, maybe because I was thinking about something else. I should have paid attention more. But, how many times do you pull something out of the fridge and you're just mindlessly doing it? You don't have to put all of your attention onto that. Or maybe I will be putting more attention onto things because I dropped that. But so what? On top of it, if you've had a mess with kiddos around, something like that, where it's glass and it's dangerous, part of cleaning it all up, the frustration is keeping Nico out of it. So he's like, I'll help. And I'm like, no, don't step over here. Just stay where you are. But I want to help. No, don't help. It's glass. I don't want you to get hurt. Stay there. You're going to track it on your slippers, blah, 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 And then he's pissed because I'm not letting him help. And then I got another situation to deal with. But so the lesson learned for me, not learned, but lesson offered to me this morning is to slow the F down. It's not that big a deal. It's just another mess. It got taken care of. Came at a horrible time, of course, but it's not that big a deal. But the other point I was going to say at the beginning of it is the expression is no sense crying over spilled milk. And that's usually we're saying that to the kids, right? To calm them down because it's not that big a deal. But for the parents, I have to say, in parenthood, I totally have a different empathy for the freakouts, the frustrations that you see fellow parents going through in public, because there is part of me, and so this is what I used to think as a non-parent. I was always empathetic with people. In general, I'm that way. I'm not looking at them judgmentally about like, well, you're really blowing your fuse. You should be a better person and a better parent at the same time. Because I would default into, wow, okay, that's like an excessive reaction. But there's probably something going on. Let me try and help, But as a parent, I totally get it, because say if there's something spilled on aisle 4 and they're because their kid wasn't behaving and knocked, or wasn't paying attention and knocked something over, even beyond behaving, but even if it was like they're freaking out, the kiddo like is just won't sit in the cart because they want to push the cart themselves, or they want to walk instead of be carried or something like that, and the parent loses it. I totally get it in a totally different way, because going back to no sense crying over spilled milk, it's not that big a deal, parent. You should be able to handle. It's not a big deal if they freak out on aisle 4. Like, you have no idea how many times that's happened that day, that week, the last couple of days, how that kid slept the night before, meaning you didn't sleep well, and your just fuse is short and it blew. I totally empathize in a totally different way over, yes, it's no sense in crying over spilled milk, but that might be the 17th time milk has been spilled that day, and you're going to lose it. So I get how this morning, with feeling stressed about a number of different things, some work-related, some being Nico-related, with him being sick, getting to work on time, doing another transfer with his mom, and just over the last couple of weeks, things being stressful with new family changes, all that kind of stuff. I totally got it why I freaked out, but I didn't freak out. I contained it, but I was pissed. And at the same time, all right, not big a deal. Just you sweep, you mop. I didn't mop. I swept. I vacuumed. Did a wet paper towel cleanup type of thing. Managed Nico. Got out the door. Got to work on time. Everything turned out to be fine. But there was an element of the frustration and being short with Nico that became a teaching tool. So afterwards, I helped decompress myself and debriefed and decompressed Nico about it, of apologizing to him, like, hey, I'm sorry that I was short. I was didn't mean to yell. I just was afraid that you were going to step on a piece of glass and get hurt. And he's like, but I had my slippers on. I wouldn't have got hurt. Totally true. But I didn't want you to step on it and then track it somewhere else, that when we're barefoot in the house another time, that piece of glass could have gotten stuck in our foot and cut us and hurt us. He's like, okay, but I just wanted to help. And I'm like, I totally know you want to help, and I love that you're a helper. But in this instance, because it was dangerous, I wanted you to staying put. And instead of, saying it a different way, like, I was short with you. What does it mean being short, Dad? And I made a joke, and I it's like this. And I crouched down, so I was really close to the ground. I was like, short. And I put my hand above my head like I was measuring myself. I was being short with you. And that made him laugh. And it kind of decompressed it a bit. But I was like, I didn't say it as well as I would have liked to, but these are the reasons why. It's not an excuse, but this is why I do it. And I'll try and do better next time. He's like, okay, Dad. And then it was done. So he understood why I was being seemingly mad at him. I wasn't mad at him. I wasn't even, I guess I was mad at myself a little bit, because I created more work for myself by not holding on to the freaking jam. But it was just a frustration. And then him understanding, okay, this is frustrated Dad. Let's just help or not help. I'll just keep doing what I'm doing and he'll be fine in a second, is good for Nico and I to have an understanding in that kind of way. So one, yes, our fuses get short because there's a lot on our plate, and we know in our minds it's not worth it to crying over spilled milk, but we do it anyway because there's lots of milk being spilled by our kids, and in this case ourselves, and there's lots of messes to clean up, so we're trying to prevent any mess that we possibly can, to save our energies for the next mess that we can't possibly help having, and we have to devote our time and energy to that. But then also using it as a way of Nico understanding me, him to understand that I wasn't mad at him, to understand that people do get frustrated. We can de-stress it, come to the other side, and everything all be good. So if next time the milk gets spilt, 1, not being frustrated at the kiddo if they spilled it. 2, not being frustrated at yourself if you spilled it. Obviously, an opportunity to be more mindful is there, but also in the scheme of things, if you do outburst, if you do express frustration, anger, swear, yell, whatever it might be, that if your kid's present, definitely let them in the loop on the other side of it, that everything's okay, and why you did it, what you were feeling, so they can have an understanding when they feel it, why they might do it. But then also, hopefully, if it's something where you're going to them to explain and potentially apologize because you feel bad about it, that you are able to correct it and do better the next time. Because if you're doing that over and over again in front of your kids, like, that will become more of something that becomes a little more obvious that it needs to change, and you'll have that buffer instead of reacting, be like, nope, contain it, and do a little better for our kids, so they can emulate, pattern in, model into that kind of reaction response rather than a reaction. Does that make sense? Hope it does. Hope it's helpful. So for next time, dads, until next time, dads, take care of yourselves, take good care of your families, and we'll connect on the next episode.
I hope you enjoyed that episode. You can hang out with other dads in our Facebook group. Just go to Facebook, search for the Dadhood Journey, and apply to get in. See you there, and see you on the next episode. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Perfect.
There you go, Dan.